What up, what up, what up, what up, good people? It is your favorite Monday night talk show right here on we're on YouTube and Facebook Live. It is your favorite show, and that is Dr. We E Talk Sports, where we make you a little bit smarter at the water cooler for your sports information. We have a big show planned because we are post Super Bowl. It's been a week, so everybody's got a chance to let their takes sink in, let everything happen because we know we get overreaction Monday after the Super Bowl. We're gonna let some takes. We've had a week now to let things sink in, see what's real, see what's not. So we're gonna give you some things that are real that what we saw at the Super Bowl, and some things that were not real.
Okay.
On both sides. I'm gonna do that on both sides. But first we're gonna give the team their flowers for somebody that was there at the game. So we're gonna get the full in-stadium accounting of that. So she was making friends with folks sitting around, and they was fast friends and just
all the time, which is why I don't like sitting in suites at football games. I'd rather be people.
They were high-fiving and hugging and all kind of stuff on it. It was America. All the Eagles fans was united and fun on Super Bowl Sunday. And then if we have a little time at the end, we're going to talk a bit about the NBA All-Star Game. And we got some interesting information. There was a conspiracy theory. I don't know how much of a conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theories are truth wrapped in speculation, right? And so that's why people believe them so much, because there is some truth.
Yeah, usually is, yeah.
In the theory. And so we got a theory about the whole Lucas situation that we're going to talk about when we talk about NBA. But that's at the end of the show. We got to open with, what was that, Super Bowl 59, 49?
59.
59, okay. 59. Kansas City Chiefs come in looking for the three-peat, and the Eagles come in looking for revenge and a redemption after that kind of meltdown at the end of the season prior to.
And then the loss in the Super Bowl in 23.
Well, you got the loss, but that was a better Chiefs team than what y'all faced on Sunday. So, but
it was
a better Chiefs team.
But it still was a redemption because Jalen even saved the screensaver when they lost as motivation.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely, and they were a much better built team both times. I think that your y'all to make second half adjustments in that first game. First game, you took out the lead, and then
defense. If we would have had
touchdown, field goal, touchdown.
Yeah,
the defense. But that was not. They didn't make adjustments because the Chiefs kept doing the same thing.
It was the defensive coordinator. He was thinking about that job. He was thinking about the job instead of trying to make adjustments in the game.
That's right. Because he had a head coaching job.
There in Phoenix. See?
They should have snatched his job back after watching that.
Phoenix. It's like Kalen Moore was in New Orleans and got the job, but he actually, focused on.
No, he called a good game. The game plan. I'm just saying I'm wearing the green today out of respect for, the green and white. Respect. So shout out, watch the game at Rob Hardy's house. Rob is a Philadelphia native and loves his Eagles, and so he had a Super Bowl party. So we were over there in the belly of the beast, and so I was watching it with a bunch of Eagles supporters, even not just fans. Even people that were not Eagles fans, like, I'm pulling for the Eagles. They got
tired of the Chiefs.
They were Chiefs fatigue.
Yeah.
So watching the game, I got about 2 series in, and the series that I knew the game was over was after it was one of them. It was either after the turnover
with the pick six.
The pick six. It was after the pick six. That was a big series, and the series I think prior to that, when Philly scored. But after that pick six, because that was that made it 17-0. Mm-hmm. The pick six make it 17-0. Yeah. So they were still in the game up until that. Now you think about that. That was second quarter going into half. They were still relatively into the game.
Relatively.
Pick six happened, so it was 10-0. Pick six happens. I'm saying relatively because the offense wasn't doing squat. But the defense was keeping them in the game. enough to where it was still within reach. 10-0.
Yeah, I mean the score.
Yeah, the score. Yeah. I'm talking about just the score.
Yeah.
That was what was happening on the field. Just from a scoring purposes, they were still in the game.
Yeah.
One big play could have it's 10
Change the momentum.
10-7. But still relatively in the game, 10-0, pick six happened. I said, so I'm telling everybody in the room, this is the most important series for the Chiefs. If they don't do something on this series, this game is over. And they're like, oh, no. They were worried because of what happened 2 years ago. So all the Eagles
everybody was saying that.
Always worried. They were like, I was like, look, are you watching this game? This is a massacre that's about to happen. So Chiefs get the ball back, and what happened?
Our defense.
He immediately threw another interception. Right. And I told her, and what was funny was I predicted the turnover. I didn't predict the interception, but I predicted the turnover. I said, because it was like sack, pick. And then it was sack. And then I told him, I said, look, Patrick Mahomes is not settled right now. He's seeing ghosts. He's not watching what's going on. And I said, watch his feet. I said, on this play, I want you to watch his feet. Don't watch anything else going on. Watch Patrick Mahomes' feet. He throws a pick. I said, what'd I tell you? He's not settled.
He couldn't see because the defense was in his face. And then he was like, he was in his face and he thought he was going to get hit. It's the pressure.
Yes.
He
was Sam Darnold. He was out there seeing ghosts because he was rushing throws that didn't need to be rushed.
Yeah.
When they had
the pocket before he needed to run out of the pocket.
Yeah. He was playing too fast.
Yeah.
And he was like that. And here's the other reason why I knew it was a massacre. I'm not saying I am well versed on NFL defenses. They're much more complex than the defenses I was running as a coach. Yeah. But I know when you run a simple base cover 2 and cover 3
with no blitz,
with rushing 4 and don't blitz. The only time you ran was like a zone blitz where one person drops out. So you're still only rushing 4, but you did a zone blitz. You did that maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
you run a base defense, and you
get that much pressure. Yeah.
And you dominating the game. I was talking donut. I was talking get the goose egg.
I wanted because them last 2 scores. It
was over with. Like that just
out. But I wanted them. I'm like, keep playing. And then I saw some interview. They were interviewing a Chiefs defense player, and he was like, "When did you know the game was over?" He's like, "No offense, man, but when did?" He was like, "When they pulled the starters." they had Kenny Pickett out there. We knew it was over.
I knew it was over well before that because they couldn't do anything.
Well, see, I'm like until it's 0-0.
The other drive that let you know was really over was everybody. The commentators were still talking, even though it's 24-0 at halftime. They're still talking.
What do you know? That's the job.
Yeah, I mean they got to make you think because they want you to keep watching. It's really about the commercials. They can still watch it because we still at halftime show. But they was talking, and they were saying, "Well, it's Patrick Mahomes. He's done this before in that playoff game a few years ago when they came back against Houston, and they were down 24-0, and they came back and won that game."
Yeah.
So they had a reference.
We were like last time we were up 10 points and they came back.
Yeah. So everybody was like, and then I said, and they were like, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid's gonna go in and make adjustments at halftime, and they came out, and I told him, and I was like Negro Dominus the whole party, and I said, the worst thing that can happen for the Chiefs is if they come out and they move the ball to midfield and it gets stopped, because that lets you know that their adjustments that they made at halftime weren't working. And that's exactly what happened. They got to about midfield and then got stopped. And they punted. They didn't even try to go for it. They punted. And I was like, you know what? This game is over with. And I stopped. I didn't stop watching it, but I was like, I stopped watching it for like, I was just watching it for like, oh, how bad is this going to be kind of situation. And I was trying to talk the Rob Hardys and he's no, wait till the fourth quarter. Don't tell me congratulations.
I know people texting me congratulations. I'm like, no, the game is not over. Until it's
and then they start talking about 28-3. I said, The Falcons gave up 28-3. The Eagles right now are not about to give this game up.
I think they would. But I still, you can't be overconfident like I'm a player. You can't be overconfident. That's all.
I get it. You got, you had the game in hand before they came back, gave it up. Okay.
And I know Patrick Mahomes, not Tom Brady, but I think about the Falcons game.
I think
at the third quarter. So
here's where the Chiefs lost me.
What?
When they were shaking hands with DJT before the game.
Did they show that? Did they show that?
Oh yeah, they got pictures.
I taped the game. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Chris Jones, they got a big picture. Chris Jones shaking his hand, talking about, and other guys talking about how it was pretty cool that he was there and blah blah blah. And then when DJT said, "Oh, he was there pulling for the Chiefs because he knows
he was there for the Chiefs."
Patrick Mahomes' wife is a supporter, and Patrick Mahomes might be. He just has.
I think his mother-in-law is too.
His mother, they're from Texas, so they probably are Trump folks. So, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a kiss of death." And
I knew who he was cheering for when they showed him on the look. But see, I didn't see all that, and I haven't seen my tape yet. I saw the halftime show because you couldn't really see it that well from where we were sitting.
That man, he is going to be on the wrong side of history and everything. So he was up there with Sarah Huckabee Sanders in her Chiefs colored outfit and all this other stuff. And I was like, y'all on the wrong side of history. You're always going to be on the wrong side of history. And this was that day.
He wasn't cheering for the Eagles. He wouldn't be cheering for the Eagles. That's not his cup of tea.
No, that's fine. He was on the wrong side of history, and he was on, and history gave him a beat down. It was like that game, and I was telling folks before the game, and I think I may even said on the show because we talked about it on the third.
Yeah, we did.
So earlier this month, and I said this is probably one of the best defenses in NFL history. They're not going to get their flowers unless they do it again. But that defense was fantastic. I remember my man Terrence we were naming the top 5 defenses of all time.
Yeah,
they're not top 5 yet. But that defense is fantastic. And the one caveat is two. Number one, you got to keep Fangio. Fangio, you got to keep him.
He'll be there at least one more year.
And number two, you cannot expect to start next season in the playoffs. You got to flush this season out, and this is what the Chiefs have done. That's been very good.
Yeah. Each season is a different team.
The Chiefs have been able to do this. They've been in Patrick Mahomes' starting years, 5 of the 7 years they've been to the Super Bowl, right? So, and I think all of them except for 1 year, every year they went to the AFC Championship game. And then 2 years in, they go.
Yeah, they just lost.
1 year they lost to Brady, and the other year they lost to.
And they lost to Joe Burrow and didn't make it. Yeah.
So, but each year, and the Patriots are able to do this too, is a new year, and they were able to start training camp, and the trophies are on the shelf, all the press clippings, everybody patting us on the back, telling us how great we are, how we're gonna be the next dynasty. They flush all of that out, and they go back to playing day by day. Game by game, preparing. Every season is a new season.
It is a new team.
You got the right quarterback to do that.
It's a new team, and not just the quarterback. I think the leaders of the team. Like a lot of people coming back, like Lane Johnson, like the offensive line, unless they don't pay Becton, it's gonna be the same. Lane coming back.
Your defense is all under contract. Minus, there's one Smart is.
Bond is a free agent. Zach Bond, who we got from the Saints. He's the good. He the one got the interception. What you talking about? He's good. He's a
linebacker, right?
Yeah, but he's good. Yeah,
linebacker, like the salary scale on linebackers is not as great as it was.
Well, I'm just saying he's a free agent. It's gonna be Becton, him, and who else on the defense? I think that's it for the defense.
That's it. It's Smart and Bond, and like a couple of You don't know your boy Brandon. Is he going to come back? Because he's getting a little longer too.
He might retire, but he
He
have
might retire as a champion. Um, and then Mekhi Becton. Those are you don't really have a lot, but you don't have a lot of cap space.
Slay is a free agent too, but I don't know how much money he'll be on.
Anybody worry about it.
I'm just saying, everybody loves Slay even though he's older.
Yeah, so I think for the most part, that defense is going to be back. I think you got two rookie corners that played really, really well, and were not afraid of anything the Chiefs had to do. They kept everything in front of them, and they knew that Patrick Mahomes wasn't going to have time. You had some uncharacteristic drops by Kelsey early in that game.
No wonder he going to retire.
I think he would have retired if they won.
Well, maybe. But you think he's going to retire? He said he didn't know.
I think he should.
I think he should too, but I wonder.
I think he should.
I don't think he want to go out like that, but I don't know.
But that's why I was like, if they'd have won, he would have retired. He would have, I don't think his brother wanted to retire. I think he wanted to retire as a champion. Came back last year, and then y'all had that slide, and then he was like, you know what, I'm out.
Well, yeah.
Jason was like, yeah, I'm good. But Travis should have retired. He should retire because, and I understand he's got chemistry. Talking about the Chiefs have bigger holes, and the Kelsey, Reed, Mahomes magic.
They made up for it, but they've had holes all season. Last season too.
The defense has been really, really good for the past 2 years. The defense was good on Super Bowl Sunday, but they can't play that many snaps. I was telling people.
Oh yeah, they couldn't, and they was trying to concentrate on Saquon, which left Smith.
Which they did. They shut Saquon down. Saquon was shut down.
He wasn't shut totally. They still got the record. They slowed him down significantly. I wouldn't say he shut him down.
What, he got 57 yards?
He broke the record. Terrell Davis record. I don't know what his total yardage was off the top of my head.
I think he had like 57 yards in that game. He got shut down.
I mean, he totally shut him down.
For Saquon, I mean, he didn't get 0 yards, but for Saquon's year,
he down.
He got shut down. I mean, I'm sorry. 57 yards is not a Saquon game. That's not a game. They shut him down. For the carries and for the yards per carry, he was effectively shut down. Now, what they couldn't do is shut down all of the weapons, and that was
that's why, because they put all their energy into Saquon.
Yeah.
So they left everything else open.
Devontae had a great game. AJ had a great game.
Dallas even got some.
Goddard got some touches, and then Jalen ran when he was supposed to run. Mm-hmm. And so I kept telling people, I was like, whenever the Chiefs defense would get a good play on first and second down, and third down play was coming, I'd be like, you can't let it be 3rd and 2 or less, because they're gonna push their way to a first down. You can't stop it. It's the best in the business. And they would I remember one time it was like 3rd and 13, and he got like 11 and a half yards. And I was like, they're going to push this on 4th down. Like, oh, it's 4th down. I was like, they're going to. And they did.
4th and 2 or 4th and, yeah.
Yeah, they're going. Like, that's. And I said, it sucks as a defense when you're starting in this 1st and 8. That's how you start with the Eagles, particularly in the Super Bowl. It's 1st and 8. Because if they get more than 8 yards in 3 plays, it's tush push. Or they're going to fake it and throw that fade route to AJ, which has become a variant of this tush push, which has worked. It worked in this game. They got a bad call they called a push off.
Yeah, oh my God, offensive PI. Even the freaking Chiefs fans around me was like, that's a bad call, but we'll take it. They were like, that's a bad call. We'll take it. I was like, oh, yes.
On the broadcast, it didn't seem as bad. I mean, to the Eagles fans, they were like, it's the Chiefs. And again, when they showed the replay, I was like, yeah, it was a bad call. But it was a bad call.
I think that was a bad call too.
But they got made up for it, because that targeting, whatever, that was foolish. That was not a terrible call, and it gave the Eagles a first down.
Yeah, that was on Dallas, I think.
That was a bad call. And there was another one. I think I counted.
It was
It was 2
two.
to
It
1.
was three calls that were bad overall, and I
Three
forgot.
overall, one against the Eagles and 2 against the Chiefs. Now, would the 2 that went against the Chiefs change the outcome of the game? Hell no.
No, but
But that one, it was a third down call. It would have gotten them off the field because
yeah, but that just to
they
make
had.
up for that BS pass interference call. So I was like, this is even.
I get it, but I'm saying
But that would have been a touchdown. At least the AJ.
it
It was like 5 yards. I mean, it was close.
the one that AJ he caught it. Yeah, you would. There's no guarantee for touchdown, but it was a first down.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was close. He was in the red zone at least.
Yeah. You would at least walk away with 3 minus a turnover.
So the other one was like gave us a first down. So I was like, it made up for that bad call. That's
It
what.
did.
Yeah.
But the one against the Chiefs was like that would have put them deep in Eagles territory. It would have been their deepest into Eagles territory, or the stopping them, and then the other one it would have put them deep in Eagles territory, and then call it. I was like, that's tough.
And then they did
But
miss that call. That was an obvious face mask at the end of the
they
game.
did.
Jalen Carter.
They did.
But
it's like,
I'm like,
but here's the thing: the refs are people too, and they see the
I
momentum.
like that ref.
They see the momentum in the game, and that game they're like there's nothing we can do. That's gonna change the outcome of this game.
Well, I agree. I mean, I like that ref, even though they had bad calls, but it balanced out. So, but I was mad when they called that P. I was like, seriously?
It was definitely a bad call, and it led to that narrative. Like it added more fuel to the narrative.
The Chiefs it cost. But even though I've read some stuff, but you can't believe everything you see on social media that the refs were in, for the Eagles or whatever.
Everybody's got theories, right? That's what I was like. That's a danger of conspiracy theories, right? Because they could take some plays, they could take some statements and wrap whatever, some things that are actually factual, and they spin it in a way that makes it look like it's some sort of conspiracy. I even had conspiracies that said if you go to the NFL website, it says it's for entertainment purposes, so therefore, like it's not. They were trying to say that because it says that means they can do whatever they want in terms of calls that they make because it's about entertainment. So they basically can manipulate the outcomes
of games
to get to what they want for entertainment purposes versus having a real contest of people fighting. I'm like, seriously, that's where we're going. That's where we're going. Like it gets pretty out of control. But I would say overall,
I think overall they did a good job. I think.
Yeah, the refs were the best. Those were the best refs, if you could tell.
Yeah, because they get. It's only you got to work your way up to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So they were the highest graded refs in each one of their positions. Outside of those 3 calls, I don't think anything else was egregious.
And I like this Super Bowl. I think it was a very black Super Bowl from the pregame to the refs to the halftime show to the quarterbacks.
Yep. Yeah. There was the pick six dude. He that's a DEI. When is his birthday?
It was his birthday. He may say
yeah, his birthday. He's 24. That's the Eagles DEI.
I'm just still saying it's very black, but he could be invited to the cookout though.
Yeah. I like him. He's a good kid. He's like 24. He was I think he just turned 25 or something like that. So he's got a good future. And I think the now that he's won, talking about Jalen Hurts, the narrative on him has to change.
It has to, but will it?
That's the question, because I've noticed in the sports media guys have egos, and they do not like to change their original.
Yeah, they don't like to be wrong.
There's only a few of them that will. That's why I like my man Colin, because he's always saying, get new information, you got to have a new opinion. You've got new information now. He outplayed Mahomes both times he faced him. Well, all three, because they played that regular season game too.
Yeah, we beat him.
Yeah. So all three times, he really wasn't much of a factor in the regular season game. It was closer, but he's beat Mahomes twice now and outplayed him all three times.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and he's like the only person that's beat him in the Super Bowl. Well,
but the person that
Josh
gets,
and Lamar can't even get to the Super Bowl because of Patrick.
but the only person they give credit to is Joe Burrow.
Because he beat him and made it to the Super Bowl.
But he lost the Super Bowl. So it would have been a bigger accomplishment if he had won the game. But you beat Mahomes, but you lose the game. Hurts
beat him in the Super Bowl and in the regular season.
So now you got Hurts is with Tom Brady. You know Tom Brady's untouchable.
Tom Brady was happy we won too.
I said that. I said that too. I said the happiest person in the stadium right now is Tom Brady. And they were like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, his legacy is crazy."
Yes, because they keep comparing him to Tom. Tom was like, "Hey, I'm still the GOAT."
I would say the only reason why that rings true is because they're talking about old point differential. It doesn't matter. The loss is a loss. It happens. Oh, he's kept his team in the games. What that mean? You lost the game. Like I don't get this. Oh, he lost by a blowout and he lost. And I'm like, how?
They have to have.
Did they put that number on in the win loss column? Did they put point differential, or did they just say it's a loss?
No, but it's something to talk about. They gotta have something to talk about. They gotta have something Patrick to Tom Brady, and I like it because it. Not that I don't like Pat, but
I'm like,
I have Pat fatigue, so they could just switch.
If you're going to talk about it, if you want to have something to talk about, let's talk about how Tom Brady wasn't leading those teams the first three Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's not. But he still gets credit for winning the game. But those weren't his victory. That was defense that won those games.
It's a team sport, but if the quarterback get the blame, they get the praise too. You know that's the case. But at the end of the day, it's the case. So, but Pat, he did take credit for the loss, though. I give him that because sometimes some quarterbacks throw other people under the bus.
I agree.
Even though I don't think it was all his fault. I don't think it was all his fault. I don't think Andy Reid made great adjustments.
I don't think he had a good game.
They didn't even try to run the ball.
Nope.
I mean,
no, he didn't. I think they had at halftime they had 23 yards.
So I blame some of it on coaching.
I blame a lot of it on coaching because the game plan dictates how yes, Mahomes is a great quarterback, but you got to give him a game plan that's going to work. And if you're seeing, and the adjustments have to work. And so give your defense rest time. Throwing the ball stops the clock, right? So they're getting incompletions or sacks. You're getting off the field. Guess what? Your defense has to go back out there. And I gave y'all the number before. I gave you the number before, 60 snaps. If the defense plays more than 60 snaps, it's going to be a problem. And what happened in that game was they played a lot of snaps in that first half and ran out of gas.
Yep.
And you even think about it like this, though. They still only gave up 20-something points because you had a pick six, you had another interception that gave them a super short field, and you had the fumble turnover that gave them a short field. So they got 17 points off of the turnovers. Talking easy points that the defense didn't give up. They were short fields. 6 of them they didn't do. 7 of them they didn't do because it was a pick six. But the other 10 were short fields because of turnovers. So you're like the defense is 20-something points. What you want them to do?
Yep.
So I don't know. Yeah, that defense is fantastic. And if they can keep what I what I kept laughing is that they got Jordan. What's the defensive lineman? Jordan.
You talking about JD Davis?
Yeah, Jordan Davis. They
Mhm.
got him at 336.
He's bigger than that.
Thank you.
But
We
it
looked
seems
at
like he looks bigger in some pictures than others. But
we're like 370 at least. I mean, that man is
well,
yeah.
I don't know.
Those two guys when they're lined up next to each other, they're so good in the interior
Hmm.
that you really don't realize like that your defensive ends aren't that great, but they get such a push in the middle of a quarterback's face, and quarterbacks hate that. They'd rather have a weak edge rusher so they can step in, but they've got that center of the line, and that's what really hurt the Chiefs because they had to move their guard out the tackle to guard the edges, and then you play in the Eagles defense that has their best defensive linemen are their two tackles. So they just pushed the line back into his face. And then when he couldn't step up, so when the edge was getting beat, they were getting to him. Or they'd make him try to he'd have to run around or he'd have to run back. And when he'd run back, they were fast enough to run him down. I mean, like he couldn't even use his legs. They took away his legs, his running lanes. They took away his passing lanes. They sat back in that zone. And they were like, they dared the random receivers to beat them, and they weren't good enough. And they weren't good enough across the board. So like, and the Chiefs don't. Hey JB, the Chiefs don't have enough salary cap space to go after a lot of big free agents. They need to shore up that offensive line because that's bad. They are bad on offensive
Yep,
line.
especially that left tackle.
They're serviceable at receiver.
Yeah,
Serviceable
sorry, they need somebody else though.
because D Hop, you got
Worthy, but he'll
Xavier came on at the end of the year. Hopefully, Rasheed Rice comes back to form when he's coming back from injury. But he's coming back from injury and he's got the legal stuff, so you don't know how that's going to
well,
play
yeah.
out. Um, hopefully his attorney in this time where he's been out of the limelight, they took care of that legal stuff, right? That's
Hopefully,
the time to do it when you're
hopefully,
out the limelight. Hopefully, if he had
hopefully.
a attorney worth his fault, he'd be advising, son, let's take care of this now. It's not a big deal. Let's go
Yeah.
ahead and close this out now before we get back to the season because then everybody's gonna be looking at you, talking about you,
Hmm.
But they've got question marks at receiver. They got question mark at tight end because you got the new kid that they drafted a couple years ago. He's decent, but if Kelsey is not very good, so they got to draft another tight end. The defense is stable, but Chris Jones is getting long in the tooth, and if he keeps getting double teamed and triple teamed like he has been, he's not going to be as effective. You saw in the Super Bowl he got beat up by a better offensive line. They were wearing him out.
Yeah. Our offensive line is, I think it's the best, but if not, it's one of the best.
Now, I will say this. Here's where I'm going to pump the brakes. I know we're only a week out. Here's where I would say pump the brakes on the Chiefs' demise because everybody was
No,
throwing dirt.
I don't think. I mean, they lost the game, which I'm glad they did. Um, but they'll be back. I don't know when they'll be back, and they don't think they'll ever get an opportunity to three-peat again. But they'll be back again. It won't be 10 years like Tom Brady. They were talking about that.
Right. But I would say this. The reason why I'm not throwing dirt on them is because the the, the, the Chiefs have mind control over the Bills and the Ravens.
But you think after we beat them, you think that they'll be less intimidating as far as the mind thing. You know what
What
I'm
would
saying?
make you what would make you the Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season?
I know, but the regular season, no one is. It's like no one is beating the Chiefs other than Tom Brady. So it's kind of like
Joe Burrow did.
like they've been exposed.
Joe Burrow beat him in the postseason from
Well,
the strictly for the AFC.
one time,
Joe
yeah,
Burrow beat him in the
one
in the
time.
postseason, but his ownership is hell bent on destroying that team.
Well, they need a defense They
They're
need.
not going to pay
They're
TJ.
cheap. Are they gonna get rid of him because he really wants? He sounds like he really wants to stay.
Well, they got to pay Jamar Chase because they should have paid Jamar Chase last year, but they didn't pay Jamar Chase, and so now he won the Triple Crown, so the price just went up.
Well, agree that basically the same like with the Dallas. You pay early, you pay less. Howie knows that.
You and I know that, and we're here on a Monday night talking about this, so they should know that. They've been doing this for a long time.
Well, they got to pay him, and they need defense. They need some defensive play.
And your best defensive end, not Hutchinson.
Yeah, because like the most sacks in the league. He's the only person that's good. They got to pay him.
Yes, they got to pay him too. So they're gonna lose Higgins.
They got to pay him. They need to pay him because he's the only player.
Well, no, the player is Burrow and Chase. Those are.
I'm talking about they need to pay him too.
Yeah, but you got so Burrow talking about giving back money so he can keep Higgins and Chase.
Yeah.
But that means that defensive end might and look, let me tell you something. The Redskins got 80 plus. I'm sorry.
They got a lot.
The Commanders got $80+ million.
Because they got the rookie, yeah. And they get rid of some folks.
They're gonna be giving away contracts like Oprah gave away cars on that show. Okay. Because they want to make that team better. They got a window now with him in his rookie contract.
They do. Yeah.
They got a window.
They're getting rid of the Zach Ertz.
Well, Zach Ertz is long in the tooth.
Well, I know that. They're just getting rid. I like him just because he's a
I like Zach. Zach even said, I heard him on an interview. He said he wish he had gotten this quarterback early in his career. Because he's like, he realized he's long in the tooth. But he's like, this kid is good. He wants to play with him as long as he can. He's like, this kid is basically prolonging his career. That's how.
And I think veterans in the locker help too. Even it might not be all about the production on the field, especially when you got a rookie QB. It helps.
Oh no, Zach Ertz is going to be on that team next year. He's going to play next year. They need him. He's smart.
But I don't know if it's true or not. I heard rumor they're getting rid of him. I don't know if it's true or not.
No, he'll probably take a salary cut. He'll probably take a cut. I like restructuring. That's what they call it, a pay cut now. He'll take a restructuring. Because where you going to go? He wants to play. He's not retiring.
No. I mean, no, he's not retiring, but I heard they were getting rid of him. I don't know if it's true or not.
Now, if somebody's dumb enough to give him a bigger check, I would say take the check. You got a family.
Well, I don't think, the
Commanders aren't winning. They're not winning the Super Bowl next year.
No, but I'm proud of them for even making it to the NFC Championship compared to the other two teams in our division.
Speaking of which, Jerry Jones is making more bad statements.
And Dak too.
Dak, what is Dak talking about?
And Mike actually told the truth in his statement.
What is Dak talking about?
Well, Dak, they asked him about the Eagles, and he's talking about how they're close and how that they've beaten us and they beaten. And when he saw the NFC Championship game, he's went toe to toe with both teams. It's a division game, of course. And how next year is theirs. It's up to them. I think I'm paraphrasing, of course.
So who you gonna hand the ball off to? Dak?
I don't know.
Who you gonna throw the ball to besides 88? Dak?
Nobody. I'm just saying you what Dak said, but I guess he's trying to just be positive talking about it. See, Micah admits they need stuff.
Micah's the only one.
I like Micah. I love Micah, actually. He played for the wrong team, though. They got
to pay him.
Got too many holes. And the coach, they got too many holes. They need another wide receiver. They need a running back.
They need an offensive line. Not a whole line, but they got some players that are getting a little. Zach Martin's about to go. His time is up. I mean, he's got I'll probably say a Hall of Fame career. We added all up. Zach Martin was a great offensive lineman, but that line is not the line that they had when Zeke's first year. I'm not even going back to the 90s.
That's
Zeke's
true.
first year. That line was fantastic. Zeke's first year, but they were all young, early in their career. Jerry Jones hasn't put together a line like that since then, and Jerry doesn't realize that him getting older, in his mind, he thinks it gives him more experience. in reality is he is holding on to the past or the way football is played. He's not evaluating talent the same. And the proof is in the pudding. They've been able to draft a couple of impact players, but they
Yeah,
really haven't.
and they don't like spending money in free agency. So,
And when was the last time you saw a team win a championship that didn't do that?
Jerry, it's Jerry. I can see not spending all your money on free agency, but you gotta. I mean, you need pieces. You can't get it all from the draft.
Every team that has been a contender, a real contender, has spent money in free agents.
No, I agree.
Buffalo made trade mid-season to try to get better.
I agree.
The Eagles defense, they build their core.
Yeah, and then we get people that other people throw away, and they're good.
Well, the Giants should have never thrown away.
Well, Saquon, that was just
that's malpractice.
Zach Bond, he played special teams with the Saints. Becton played with the Jets, and they said he was injured.
Oh no, Howie Roseman is the best GM in the league right now. Yeah. He's the best. And I like Veach in Kansas City, but yeah. I think he's not as good as Howie because Veach has been able to rely on Patrick and Andy to cover up his mistakes.
And Kelsey,
And Kelsey, they cover up the mistakes. But Howie Roseman is fantastic. That one and that dude and the brother in Detroit that doesn't get credit. Now Detroit, I put an asterisk by them too because they weren't winning for so long. They were getting top picks. So you put a team full of number one overall top 5 draft picks together. Eventually, if you give them a coach, eventually they should be able to play, and that's what happened, right?
Yeah. And if you have a good, see, I like the coach. He's just like hard nosed.
He pulled them together and got some great coordinators. So Dan Campbell probably as a X and O guy is terrible.
But you don't know.
But he's a leader.
But you wouldn't know because he had a great offensive coordinator. So we'll see.
Great offensive coordinator.
Too.
And a great defensive coordinator.
They did considering how many people they had injured, they did well.
Aaron Glenn did a fantastic job. And I love the fact that Aaron Glenn gave Aaron Rodgers his walking paper.
He did. Basically he said, we don't want you to do media. We don't want you to do this. And Aaron was like, I'm not doing. So it's like, bye.
So he fired himself.
So basically, he did it the diplomatic way too.
But that's the way. But that says how committed are you to this team?
And he can't miss mandatory training. And that was one of the stipulations.
Well, again, it's about level of commitment to the team. If you're not going to come to mini camps, if you're not going to come work with your team and be a leader all the way through, not just when you want to show up and you go into Egypt when we have mini camp.
Yeah, and it shows that he's in charge because Aaron Rodgers can't be Aaron Rodgers' team like it was last year.
They took the team back from Aaron.
Basically. And
that's where I don't think Aaron's going to have a whole lot of suitors. I know everybody's like, he can still play. He didn't look that bad.
Yeah, but if does he play well enough for you to deal with the extra? And
the answer is no.
Ask yourself. Unless he plans on not being extra, which I don't think Aaron's too old to change. I think he's
going to be 41 years old.
He is who he is. So
I tell my single friends when they ask me, the ladies, they ask me, and I say, men do not get better as they age. We get worse.
I agree. Unless if men change is on their own, it's not like you're going to change them.
No, you're not going to change them.
Life altering something going on, or just they just change.
Well, I think that and Colin brought this up, and it was a really good point. So I got to give him credit for this. When a team gives up that much to a quarterback, you're going to have a problem. Because you saw what Denver did when they brought in Russell Wilson. He had an office. He had an entourage. People couldn't even get his phone number. He was giving them the assistant phone number. If you need to get in contact with me, call my people, and then we'll get back to you. He was like really big time in the whole team, which alienated himself from the team. And you had a bad coach.
Some people think he's corny. I love Russell. Some people think he's corny, and
He is.
and like when they got blown out, it's like he was still up there saying, "Let's ride." So it's just I don't know the whole.
He is corny,
I
and
love
the corniness is worse when you're not connected with your team.
I love Russell though. I always have from Seattle
No.
to Pittsburgh.
Here's how I feel. I'm neutral about Russell. I mean, he does what he does, but I think there's a time you got
That's who he
and
is though. It's not like it's fake. It's just like he's just a PC person. Like Dak's a PC person.
you can't be in a football locker room like that.
Well, I agree, but that's why I don't. Dak is a Cowboy, so yeah, I can't cheer for the Cowboys. But Dak, you don't really know who Dak is because it's like he comes off PC. You don't really know his true personnel. Michael, you know, because he talks a lot and he gonna be real.
Micah knows that Jerry Jones is never going to fire him.
No,
He can say and do what he wants. And Micah's going to have a great career. Micah might have a Hall of Fame career, but until Jerry, well,
it might not be with the
they're
Cowboys.
never going to win.
He's not gonna be with the
If he
Cowboys.
wants to win, he's going to have to go somewhere else.
I think. Well, he knows that.
So that's the reality of the Cowboys. If he wants to win, they're going to have to go somewhere else. Because Jerry has passed that delusional DNA onto Steven. So even when Jerry does pass eventually, and Steven and the daughter take over the team, they're going to have that same delusional
Oh, I
DNA.
agree. It probably would be better if she took over instead of him as far as the game stuff. Honestly,
Steven is actually a better evaluator of talent than Jerry is right now.
but
But he's still, as a 60-something-year-old man, still deferring to daddy. Because
but I think after he's the man in charge, they still gonna do some of the same stuff. Continuing the Jerry ways, which is not a winning formula.
yeah, I mean that's an old school Texas rich family. Even when daddy passes, he's gonna go, well, daddy wouldn't have wanted this, right? That's what they're gonna talk about. Because
It's
you
kind of
saw
like the Bears.
the Bears, the Lakers, Jeannie Buss trying to run it like Jerry, like Dr. Jerry Buss, trying to run the team like that. Only having a very insular, like we only have certain people that we allow in the front office, certain people that we, because this is our team. The Joneses are the same way. And like they could criticize the owner of the Jets because he was letting his kids use PlayStation averages to evaluate players, or maybe it was the Giants. It was one of them that they were like he was talking to his kids, and his kids were like, "Well, I don't like that player. Why? Because his Madden rating was not high."
And he actually listened to him.
He actually listened to them. He actually listened to them. So you got kooks all over the owner's ranks. It's not just Jerry Jones. I mean, just call it
It's
what it
not,
is.
but and for them to be quote unquote the America's team and worth all of this stuff, and people talk about them, even though to me they're irrelevant. At least last year they were. I mean,
It's P.T. Barnum. Remember P.T. Barnum and Bailey Circus? It's a big show. You all want to see the show, but it's not winning. It's not winning football. The Cowboys are not relevant. And even if they win 12 games, they're going to go in the playoffs and stink it up. Because Dak doesn't have that playoff DNA. He doesn't have that grit.
and he had the people around him.
No. Green Bay snatched their soul early in that game.
That was a wonderful game. Remember, that was a wonderful game.
Green Bay snatched their soul early in that game, and Dak ain't got it. And I hope that if there's Cowboys fan watching, make yourself known. Drop something in the comment section. I'm not saying nothing to you that you don't know in your heart of hearts. You may want to say we them boys or all that cool, but in your heart of hearts, you know that team is not.
Some of them are delusional.
And as the old saying goes, fish stinks from the head.
I think I've heard that one before, but it's true.
So that's a statement. If you heard that before, that's a Southern statement. So, from the top down, you got a bad organization.
They really do.
Very highly valued, always talked about because the fan base is large, and you've done a great job marketing that team.
Yeah,
you've got a great marketing organization masquerading as a football team.
That's funny.
And I don't hate the Cowboys. I just don't like the way a historical franchise like that has been run with because of ego. And they had an opportunity to be. They're still called the dynasty of the '90s, and they won three. That team, if they would have let Jimmy Johnson, continue to run that team, they would have had that three-peat.
They would have, and they would have.
Would have, yeah, they would have had the three-peat
They would
because
tie with the Steelers as far as the number of rings.
Emmett Smith said it at the Super Bowl. He said, after we won the back-to-back, we were riding high. And he said, then the rug got snatched out under us when they fired our coach. He said, he said, we were disoriented in the locker room. So we couldn't even get it together the first couple of weeks of the season because we couldn't wrap our minds around how they fired Jimmy Johnson. And he said, and then they made some of it because Jimmy Johnson ran that team much different than Barry Switzer did. So he said Jimmy Johnson was the leader of that team. Everything ran through him. He's gone. Barry Switzer's playing golf and fishing.
No, Jerry running the team.
Jerry was running the team, so they were like basically they had to lead themselves, and that's why they couldn't get over the hump. They were so good, they still made it to the NFC Championship game. That's how good they were still with the big three and that defense.
Yeah, but when you get past them every step, because even when they were talking about the Super Bowl, it's like two great teams. You know each other. You got 2 weeks to plan for it. So it's like who wants it harder? Who basically goes out there and plays like a dog? That's who's gonna win the game, honestly.
When I watched the warm-ups of the Super Bowl, this past Super Bowl, and I said the Chiefs are gonna lose. In my head, I didn't say this out loud. Because I wanted to see history, but in my head, I was like, they're gonna lose. There's gotta be a focus and an intensity in the players' eyes before a game. I did not see that one time. Travis Kelce looked a little shook. Patrick, he had that quiet confidence, but it wasn't this. I didn't get that. The interview will come through the TV when they know they're going to win. And somebody said, I think it may have been Colin again, or somebody else. Maybe maybe it was Shady.
Shady. Uh-huh.
They were like basically he felt like the Chiefs spent all their emotional energy trying to beat the Bills to get back to the game, and they didn't have it enough to pull it together to beat this team. Because not only did the Eagles want it more, because they had revenge on their mind, they got better players.
Yeah, we did have a better team, but because people at least did get that too. Other than the coach and the quarterback, well, I was like, whatever. Anyway, yeah, that's what they were saying before the game.
So yeah, it was like an old school massacre, like when the old Redskins beat the Broncos and when the 49ers were running the league and they were beating people 55. Remember they beat the Patriots 55-10 and all kind of stuff. And so like it was one of those old school beatdowns. That was a beatdown that if I was on that Chiefs team, mm-hmm. I would want to take that. I wouldn't want to because that's going to leave a bad taste in my mouth. That's going to make me work hard in the offseason. A close loss, I'd be like, I would be delusional. You can't be delusional after getting your soul snatched out your life.
People over players over there crying.
Okay, well, if we had only, because you've been trying to make excuses. If this had only happened, and this, no. They beat you from the first whistle, from the kickoff to the fourth quarter, and they gave y'all 22 points. You
pulled the starters. Like, how many Super Bowls have you seen with the backup quarterback?
Never.
Trotter Jr. even got some plays out there.
I think the Water Boy kicked the field goal. What you mean? They was putting everybody in the game. You don't do that. That was a college game. You pulling the starters. You know how disrespectful that is? I would have been mad. I'd have been kicking over chairs and everything. They would have sent me to the locker room.
Well, like that. I thought it was nice. Kenny got to play. I like him. He's a nice guy.
But I do appreciate the way Patrick Mahomes stood there, answered the questions, took it on himself. That's a guy you want leading your team. And if you've got that guy and Andy Reid, health notwithstanding and age notwithstanding, they'll figure it out. But they gotta get better
They need better. They need a
They gotta
line.
get better in the trenches on both sides. Chris Jones needs some help, some young help. They're not going to get that great defensive end out of Penn State. They're picking too low. They'd have to give up too much to move up that high. So they're going to have to find a diamond in the rough. There's some good defensive linemen. They're going to have to find some diamonds in the rough in this draft on that defensive line, whether it's a tackle to put next to Chris Jones, because they move Chris Jones all over the place, but they need somebody that can get push up the middle consistently. Or they need to find like the Rams did, Jared Verse. That kid is really
Jared
good.
Verse is good. We talk
Jared
about
Verse
it, but he's
Oh,
good.
but you back it up though.
He's good.
You back it up though. Like, yeah.
He's good.
He didn't give up running chasing Saquon. Now Saquon beat him to the end zone.
I mean, he is good though. But I remember that play in the snow. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles were far better than the Rams, but the Rams
actually played a good game. And what's up with this trade talk about
him going to the Giants?
Yeah.
Money. It's money. But the Rams played the Eagles more hard than the Chiefs did.
They did. If it wasn't for Jalen, they might have won.
Yeah. Jalen gave him,
yeah.
That man is ugly. Yeah, you see my whole face is crunched up. And Jalen, he's just so nasty on the field.
He is. I love him. People talk about, is he sick? Is he playing? You know, in these Facebook groups. I'm like, don't worry. I saw Jalen was out last night. He's fine. He ain't sick. He ain't sick. He'll be fine.
Jalen is the last player you got to worry about on that field. him, Saquon, and Hurts, the quarterback. Those three, I'm not worried about. And I would even say Devontae over AJ because AJ's a little.
What AJ?
Devontae is going to be.
What about my AJ?
AJ can be.
I love AJ.
He can be a little quirky. I like Devontae. I like
both of them.
If Devontae had more size, he'd be a number one. But he's not. He's not big enough. He's not big enough. He's too small. But I was about to send you the list of accolades from college on, all of the awards.
Heisman, national champion. Only 8 players have won all 3.
So Devontae is going to get. Devontae has, as what Dion said, he's one of the few people that got both jackets, a red jacket and a gold jacket, and that's College Football Hall of Fame and Pro Football Hall of Fame. There's not a lot of players that have both of them. He got both of them. So, I like Devontae because I think he's a player. I like AJ. AJ plays with an edge. You got to deal with the other stuff, like Terrell Owens. I would have taken Terrell Owens on my team.
I would compare AJ to Terrell as far as person.
He's not nearly as far. He's not nearly as bad. But I'm just saying they both play with an edge.
What do you do? And then like AJ is like you throw the ball in his area because he's gonna fight for it. I love AJ.
No, he's top 5 receiver in the league. But when you start complaining about your catches.
But see, I don't think he actually is complaining. He was just they asked him a question and he answered the question. I don't think that was just complaining. He's just a dog and he wants to play. I don't think it's all about being selfish. I think he's a team player. I mean, he's a wide receiver. They're a little devious. But compared to other ones, I think he's a team player. And Jalen is his best friend.
And he threw Jalen on the bus.
He really did. And he answered the question. He really
answered it that way. He did not have to answer the question that way. There was another way to answer.
And he wasn't throwing him on the bus with that answer. I don't think he was.
He left it too open to interpretation.
I don't think he was throwing him under the bus.
Well, that's why this is an opinion show. I got a different opinion. Especially from your friend.
AJ is just a good dude. Overall, just all around good dude.
Appreciate you, Harry. Thank you so much. But Yeah. All right. So in our last little bit of time, did you get a chance to watch the NBA All Star?
I saw highlights, but no.
Okay. So I
I
watched.
saw highlights, and I didn't like the new format.
I didn't watch Saturday night. I didn't watch the 3-point shootout. That seemed like it was a snooze fest.
I saw the Mac highlights. I mean,
Matt, the white,
he saved the 3-point. He saved the slam dunk contest.
yeah, white Matt McClung. And he's a G League player,
Yeah,
but they let him in the dunk contest.
he's three-peated. He's
First
three.
time ever, first time ever done. But yeah,
I think he does. I like the little dude.
I like him too. He's creative. I would have loved to seen him and what's the man that should have won it years ago? Aaron Gordon. When he was with Orlando, and he should have won it that year. They gave it to yeah, that would have been a good one, but no. So Matt McClung was good. The 3-point shootout was a snooze fest. I will say this about the new format. I like it, and here's why.
You like it overall?
I like it overall.
Okay.
Because they played around a little bit, but they were playing defense.
They played because they didn't want the young people to outplay them.
And that's the whole point.
But to me, that's just sad. Because most people like the East-West format, but they don't play defense. It's like, why you got to do all these schemes and stuff to get people to actually play? People play more in the summer league.
Thank you, Harry. Appreciate it. They played harder because it's a shorter game, so it's 40 points. You can't be out there playing around because ain't no big comeback. You ain't not going to have somebody out there trying to score 55 points because nobody's playing defense, and you're going to have your audience is going to be engaged because it was stopped. It gave me breaks. Okay, cool. And then the little dude hit the half court shot and won $100,000.
That was cool. I thought that was cool.
So he's shooting against the pro. Here's what I did. Also, what I liked about it was, again, they played, they engaged. It gave you breaks, and and for Draymond, because Draymond's making all around because he was really hating on it. Really,
yeah. He's talking about if it's an All-Star game, why you got the new stars?
Because and you know what? I don't agree with Stephen A. lot because I think he's a blowhard, but I do agree with him on his point this morning was, Draymond, you doing all the complaining. You are the reason. You and your contemporaries are the reason why they have to do this kind of stuff.
I agree with that, but it's sad. But why they got to do all that? They should play.
Because they're not playing. They're making too much money off the court. So they're like, this little couple $100,000, that's what you get to your side piece.
But I think you should play for back in the day. I mean, they played hard. They got paid less money overall because they ain't have as many freaking contracts and all these other little things that they get money for. They played hard for the game. Kobe, Jordan.
They were making less money.
Shaq.
The All-Star game and they came up through that era. So the guys that taught them how to be in the All-Star game were the ones that said, hey, no, because they were looking for that check. So, and Jordan is so competitive, and that competitiveness was throughout the league that they played hard in that game. It was pride. Now these guys only know each other. They all come up through AAU. They were probably teammates somewhere along the way. It's too buddy. It's too buddy. Jacking up threes from.
They saw too, because they don't play hard like they play.
Yeah, it's. I wasn't watching it. I watched this year, and I'm like, I'll watch this again. So it's to each his own. I got to see some different players. So Draymond's complaining about those guys getting on the court because they didn't make the All-Star team. But you know what? They made it interesting because they were trying to win. Yeah. And they made the team that they were playing against play harder because they were like, I'm not about to lose to these stars, to these guys that didn't get voted as an All-Star. So I loved it. They played hard. They played together. Yeah, there were some random threes getting thrown up, but not a lot. I mean,
not compared to the record.
Not compared to before. Half-court shots, people throwing up alley oops, doing all kind of crazy dunks in the game. You know, and if Draymond was being honest, he would accept that responsibility. Don't blame the league for
What
changing the
did he
format.
blame?
Blame
Well,
yourself.
I don't think he blamed the court. The clip I saw, they just asked him what he thought about it, and he didn't like it. So I mean, I didn't really like it either. But I see the reason they were trying to. The reason that they were doing it is because they soft and they don't play hard in the regular format, the East West, which I like that format the best. But
Let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is. The reason
what?
why they're doing it, the reason why TNT has lost the game is revenue. And eyeballs are going down. The ratings of the game is
Yeah,
going
but people
down.
aren't watching the All Star game because it's not as fun as it used to be.
It's not as fun as it used to be. And that's why the NFL
That's
got
part
rid
of
of
the
the
reason
Pro
I think
Bowl.
celebrity basketball game.
Right. They got rid of the Pro Bowl because the guys weren't taking it seriously. NFL players weren't taking it seriously. So all right, let's just play flag football and really not try to go out there
Well,
and
I
play.
agree. That's cool.
I'm for that. Somebody said we're the third and the runner-ups at the AFC Championship game should play. Why? Why would you put another game on an NFL player's body for our entertainment? No, I'm not going
Yeah,
to
I
do
agree. I mean, football is a different story. That
it.
you know, because they get hurt for real.
Exactly. And
Like,
so, but these basketball players, they're not, you got guys making $50 million. You got that's why, part of the reason why I wasn't mad at the Mavericks for trading Luca is were you willing to pay him $60 million a year? 70? I think he was gonna get 70. It was a 5 year,
yeah,
5 year, yeah. 70 million, $350 million.
yeah, March.
Yeah. I wasn't willing to get that man $70 million. $70 million a year, and he's 260. He's out of shape. Bust stop. Not gonna do it. And then I sent you the conspiracy theory video about that. She's trying to move the team to
The
Vegas.
owner,
She wants to put
the majority owner.
the majority owner wants to put a casino, and they won't let her do it in Texas. So she wants to move the team to Vegas. But in Vegas already getting a team? Aren't they supposed to be getting a team?
On the with the expansion. I don't know.
I think Vegas is going to be the first team the first city to get an expansion team. They were talking about bringing back the Seattle team. So if Seattle,
I like that. But I used to like that team actually.
the Supersonics, yeah.
Like
Now,
yeah,
but that seems to be a well-run organization too, because the Supersonics were decent. They went to a couple. I think they went to at least one NBA Finals with Gary Payton and Sean Kemp, and then now they're in OKC, and OKC is good. So and they were good. They had Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, and now they're good again. So whomever's running that franchise needs to tell these other owners, come to Atlanta, please, and get some goddamn seminars on the Hawks because they can't figure it out.
well,
We can't get more than one player worth a damn on the Hawks.
that's true. Since when the last time y'all were good?
Dominique. Oh, talk about the last time.
Y'all made the playoffs though, but
We made the Eastern Conference Finals a couple of times, but that was when the East was weak. Remember, we had that run when we went to Eastern
yeah, I remember that.
Finals and lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron when he was still there before he left the second time. We went and then we made a run a couple of years ago because remember we beat Philly and then we beat the Knicks. I think maybe a reversal. We beat the Knicks and we beat Philly, and then we ended up. We should not have been in the Eastern Conference Final, but
y'all lost to Miami.
that was under Coach Bud, and we lost to Miami. Yeah, so we've been there a couple of times, but it's been like flukes. We had better matchups and teams that couldn't get out of their own way, like Philly under Embiid. They haven't won the second round.
Well, this year is really bad.
It's really bad, right? This year, and then you got better, So
Paul George not doing that.
Paul George is
Yeah, the B need to go and just have surgery and just like call it a day.
They need to shut him down.
I don't think Embiid is ever going to be the player he quote unquote is supposed to be. And I don't know if he's just injury prone, he's way out of shape. I don't know what it is.
He came into the league hurt. Remember, he missed his first 2 years.
He always hurt. And he get random stuff like the Bell's palsy and stuff.
My boy, Jason, the commentator, went to Duke.
I know you're talking about. I can't remember his last name.
Yeah.
Jay Will.
Jay Will. Jay Will. he did a mic drop. They asked him about Embiid. He said, I think he said, basically in the time that he's been in the league, he's had about 400 something games played, 400 something games missed. And then he stopped. He's like, full stop. He's like, I can't trust him.
I know, because he's just not reliable. And
Can't trust him.
I mean, I like Embiid, but I'm just like, it's the same thing every year.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, they got it, but they re-upped his contract. He's making all that money.
When he's good, he's good. He flops a lot though, but when he's good, he's good. Stay on the floor. Um,
I don't know if he's got it in him to win the big game. Remember, he tried like.
see, I don't need if he was healthy, but that's a big if. If he's 100%, he's great. But if
He's had one good year, and that's the year he wanted to win the MVP.
yeah,
And
but
he played
he
hard.
got hurt in the playoffs though.
Huh?
They got hurt in the playoffs.
Exactly. And he won the MVP. MVP is a regular season award. He didn't show up in the playoffs. So it's like he got his MVP and then he like shut it down. I'm not a fan. He's lost me.
I
I
like
think he's a great
him.
player.
I don't know.
There's a difference in respecting his game. I think he
I mean, when he's healthy, he's good. But the point is if, and I don't know what to do to get him healthy consistently.
and if you believe the stories about how the fact he had a hard time messing with when he was playing on the dream team, they're like they said he couldn't really connect. So that's why he started playing fewer and fewer minutes. He couldn't mesh with the team and play the international game. And they're like, why is he here? So they just kind of like he became, you know, I felt bad for. I mean, you know, Jason Tatum, he didn't get a lot of minutes because he's the same player as everybody else that they had.
Well, yeah,
They're
and then
like,
people were questioning the man's coaching ability. I'm like, the Olympic game is different from the NBA game.
yeah,
Like, let the man do what they win and let the man do what
I
he's doing.
trust Steve Kerr.
I do.
I'm gonna give Steve Kerr the benefit of the doubt. I trust Steve Kerr. I don't trust any of those other guys. But yeah, you know, we'll see. Hopefully, here's my hopes for the rest of the NBA season.
So, yeah, what is your hopes for the rest of the NBA season? I don't have a dog in
I
that.
hope OKC wins the West because if they lose again when they're the top team,
Hmm.
then it's going to get in their head and it's going to feel like they're cursed, right? And so now that franchise, as well as they've been run, they haven't had a lot of success in the postseason. Because remember when
Back in the day with Russ and
they
Katie.
lost that 3-1 lead against they started the Warriors dynasty by giving up that 3-1 lead to them, right? So and that's when Katie
Left.
he left. So that's one hope. I do think that it's going to run through Denver unless Denver gets beat again. Because I think Denver would have beaten them last year. Would have won last year in the head-to-head matchup. But I hope that Anthony Edwards figures out and refines his game. He's too streaky for me. I love him as a player. I love his confidence. I love his energy,
defense,
his competitiveness. I love everything about him. I need for him to get a more consistent shot, right? And that's what he's streaky, and I love him. I want him to be better.
you think they're gonna miss Carl?
Was that?
You think they're gonna miss Carl and Carl? Anthony.
Big cat. Yes, in some ways, no in others. They got to replace those points because Karl Anthony Towns is a great offensive player, but he also disappears in big games too. He gets early fouls. Like, I was watching him in the playoffs. I watched the playoffs last year. I was like, when those games started getting tighter and tighter,
Yeah.
he started getting
good. The last rounds.
The playoffs is a great equalizer. It reveals what you have in your chest.
What else? But basketball, because you got to win that best of 7.
Yes. So you gotta have a team that comes out there and play every night. So
What you think about the Mavericks? What how are they gonna be with they
Well, Anthony
managing
Davis
their
is out for a
injuries?
couple of weeks, so I don't think they're. I think if Anthony Davis had gotten there fully healthy, I think they would have made a good run because they got size and Kyrie is a really good player, and then him, rolling off, and they've got some shooters, so I think they had the elements of being a dangerous team. I don't know if they would have. I don't know if they would have won the NBA title, but they had a chance to make a good run without AD, and they say he's out for a couple of weeks. It's a wrap. They'll maybe make it to the second round, but that's about it. And I think based on matchups, I think the Lakers are about a second round team exit too, because the teams in front of them, Denver, OKC, and I think Houston is good. They would beat the Lakers because they're just younger and faster, and they play better defense, and so the Lakers might beat them on experience, but I think Houston has a better team. But the teams in front of the Lakers, they have no shot. In the East,
The Knicks.
the Celtics.
The Celtics will win, but I think it's going. Who else is gonna be there? Not the Knicks are gonna be there. I think they might exit the first or second.
Knicks will be there, but they don't play defense. I mean, they're giving up 140 some points. Yeah, they don't play any defense, and so and like I said, Big Cat gets tight in these games. Now he's got Jalen Brunson, who does not, who elevates his game in big moments.
He
So
does.
maybe that'll help.
But they had
Big
I
Cat-
know that they had a lot of injuries last year because Thibodeau wears his people out.
Well, here's the thing. Right, he does. But here's the thing. If Big Cat could play like he does in a regular season in the playoffs, they would be really, really dangerous because he would give Jalen breaks. Because if I can just throw it to him and take this possession off, then I'm good, right? Because now I don't have to work as hard. Jalen worked so hard to get them to where they were last year.
He
I
did.
mean, 40-point nights, he back to back, he's 40 and 15 assists. He's all the way. He ran out of gas. I wasn't mad at him. I was surprised he had that much gas in the tank. I was like, bro, how's he still playing every night? And they had those injuries. So
He had a lot of injuries. Yeah.
if they could play half a defense, they could give Boston a run because they have really good offensive players. But if they're not playing defense, the Celtics gonna shoot them out the gym. So they got their top four players are really good. And if Porzingis is healthy, it's five, right? You got
Yeah. Yeah.
Jalen and and then you got White coming off Derek White coming up. Like, come on now. So the Celtics it's the Celtics and everybody else in the East, and then the West is open, and we'll see. I think the Celtics, barring injury,
Yeah. I
they
think
may go back. They may go back to back. Because if it's OKC, I think the moment might get too big for them if they're playing the
very young.
Celtics. You're gonna need a veteran team. Now, if it's Denver, that'll be a good matchup. Denver and the Celtics, because Denver's won it, so they're not going to be intimidated.
Yeah.
And Joker is he's just a handful, man. You can't do anything with him. He has, in terms of athleticism and body and ability, he has the worst body and athleticism with the best ability in NBA history.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Because
I mean, because you have some guys with some bad bodies, but their ability was just. But this dude is fantastic. He's averaging a triple double, and you cannot name me other than that 3-quarter shot that he hit at the buzzer. You can't name me one play that's a wild play. He just makes all the plays. He gets the rebounds. He can barely jump. You can't throw the alley oop because he can't jump. He's got a weird shot, but it goes in. It's just, I like I watch a Nuggets game. I literally watch a Nuggets game, and I go, "How is this dude good?" But he gets the angles. He gets the right body position. He plays great fundamental basketball, and it's like, and
it works for him in Denver.
It does.
So.
It does. So it is.
What do you think about the even though I don't think they're gonna make Golden State with my guy?
They made it interesting. They made them interesting. So them getting Jimmy Butler made them interesting. And so when you have a star like Steph Curry, you need an excuse to put them on TV because they draw eyeballs. When they added Jimmy Butler, the ratings went up. They're not going to win the championship,
I'll make it interesting. They might make it interesting.
but they'll be interesting, and that's all you need. The Lakers are going to be interesting. They're not going to win a championship, but with Luka, eyeballs because it's international eyeballs. LeBron automatically brings eyeballs. So now you've got, and then when
And
that
the Lakers are just they have fans.
Lakers brand with LeBron and now Luka, they're going to be must see TV. And then when that trade fell through, you've got some interesting pieces around. Now you're not big at all, so they're going to get destroyed inside. That's why Utah beat them. Utah, like they just put 3 big men on the floor. I'm like, y'all can't beat them.
I was like, they were all excited about the first game, and then
yeah, first game was energy. I was like, always like, whenever you get a trade like that, it happens in baseball. It happens all over. Like a coach gets fired in football. The next week, if the coach gets fired mid-season football, you can guarantee that team they may not win the next week, but they're gonna beat the point spread because they're gonna play hard for the new coach. Like these things that happen. It's a boost.
Yeah,
that happens, right? So ooh, look, I got to elevate my play, but they eventually come back down to earth. You see what happened to the Jets when they fired Salah. The 2 weeks after that,
I knew that was bad, and then the part of the team that was playing well, the defense.
And then you took the defensive coordinator that had the defense playing well, made him the head coach. Now he's got to focus on the whole team and the defense. You can't elevate the linebackers coach to be a DC, right? Like it doesn't work that way. They've got to work their way up to that stuff, and they need a whole season to put. You can't do that mid-season, but that's when you have bad ownership trying to make trying to save face with this Aaron Rodgers debacle, which I said was a bad trade from the beginning.
Well, see, I didn't think they would automatically go to the playoffs, but I did think they would be better than they actually were.
I think that it was terrible.
Well, see, the problem is Aaron Rodgers, while he may still be a halfway decent player, he's not a GM. And they let him be.
Yes. Yes. They basically handed the keys to the franchise over to him, and he drove it into the ground.
Yeah. So, I mean, if he would actually came there and played, maybe they would have been. I mean, they would have been better.
Made himself,
and then I think he still was getting over his Achilles injury too.
If he'd have made himself a teammate, other than just I'm Aaron Rodgers and so I'm great, so you should just follow what I say. Narcissist. Then I wouldn't call him narcissist. Ego Rodgers is not going to work. There's only one team that I can think would be dumb enough to take him, and that's the Raiders.
Who?
The Raiders. You got an eccentric, ridiculous owner.
Yeah, but I wonder would he want to go there because I don't think Pete Carroll ain't gonna let him run the show. I don't think so.
No, Pete, and then you got Chip Kelly as your offensive coordinator, and Aaron can't run Chip's offense. So that's the only reason why they might be able to convince Dummy to not bring in Aaron Rodgers.
I think Chip should have stayed his behind in Ohio.
I agree with that.
Because Chip, offensive coordinator may be different. His little stint in Philly didn't work out well. Although he was a head coach, but still.
He's good as an offensive coordinator. I think he went back to college to regain some credibility. He won the national championship.
Oh, I think that was a great job for him, I think.
Yeah.
But see, college is about
recruiting and NIL.
NFL is about players.
I get it, but recruiting and NIL makes college like NFL.
I agree, but did he have to do any of that stuff?
He does it, but he doesn't have to do it as an offensive coordinator.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
He can just tell the scout team, "Hey, these are the type of players I like." Blah blah blah. He didn't have to do it as an NFL.
I'm saying he didn't do that at Ohio State, though, did he? He just called and play. The coach did all that, didn't he?
No, but you've got more uncertainty. Because NFL, you're dealing with the top 1% of players.
So, but Chip believes in his system more than he does with the players. That's what's his downfall in the NFL. He got rid of our star players and thought his system would work.
Maybe he learned. Maybe he learned.
That didn't work in the NFL. You need players.
And look, it's about the Joes and not the X's and O's. I get it, but you gotta have a good X and O guy.
Well, I agree with that. I'm just saying it's more so in the NFL. It's more so about the players than it's the plays. In college, it makes it be more so about the players.
Yeah, because if you look at like what happened to the Bears have good players and they stunk up the joint.
No, they didn't have no good.
Coach.
Well, the Bears, I think, just who knows? This year may be different with the new coach, but the Bears to me are just like a dumpster fire.
Oh, there's another team that could take Aaron Rodgers, the Colts.
I don't know how that would work. See,
Anthony Richardson cannot.
And I think Aaron Rodgers wants to go somewhere and win now, not be a mentor or whatever. So I think he wants to go to a team that actually he thinks could win, and I don't think either one of those teams could.
No, but if you want to work,
the Steelers, I don't think he'll work well with Thomas. Steelers actually is a quarterback away. Well, they need a little bit more than a quarterback, though.
They need more than that.
But they're closer than the Raiders in this close.
He will have the same hard time. Well, there's rumors coming out of Pittsburgh that Russell Wilson was being stubborn and running the plays that he wanted to run and not what Arthur Smith was wanting to run. So Arthur Smith.
I heard that too, and I actually I'm on Russell's side with that because
they don't have a running game. So how you gonna run the ball when you don't have an offensive line that's built?
I know, and Wilson he can't run. They got him to pass the ball. They can have Justin to run the ball. He's a passer. He throws a deep ball.
I would not be surprised if Arthur Smith wanted to keep Justin.
I think that was a part of the rumor too.
And he might be
running the ball.
He might be quietly campaigning to keep Justin over Russell.
And I don't think that's I don't think that's good. I guess if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one. But because I think Russ actually was better. The problem is they need a lot. But they need another wide receiver. They need a better running game. And I don't think his play calling was all that great.
No, it was a vanilla offense.
That's why I think Russell changed a lot of stuff at the line of scrimmage. He threw them deep balls to pick.
Well, Russell wasn't that much better than Justin.
When they got into the heart of the season, no.
Right. Now Justin would have lost those games too. So that's what I'm like.
It looked better.
Yeah, I mean,
it did look better when they were winning.
Sort of.
When they were winning.
I think some of the sacks that or the throwaways that Russell had, Justin could have made a play out of that.
He could have extended the play.
He could have extended it, I think. But I think
Russell, he didn't throw anything down the field, and they think they
right. Russell, but that's what I was about to say. Russell is better throwing the ball down the field, so Pickens would have gotten even fewer touches than he did, because Justin's more of a between the hash. He's not outside the numbers kind of thrower. Yeah. So, and he's got to see a player open, and when you have an offense that doesn't scheme players open.
Part of play calling.
That's his limitation. And so the Steelers are gonna be interesting. But yeah, Aaron could go to the Steelers because Tomlin's got a man crush on Aaron Rodgers for some reason. So that's three teams. The Raiders.
I saw this somewhere. I don't know if it's true or not. They had a billboard like please, Aaron Rodgers, please do not.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. They don't want that problem. Tomlin is a strong enough presence where he's not going to give Aaron Rodgers.
Oh no, Tomlin gonna run the show, but
so that's why I don't know if Aaron would go there.
And I don't know if he would want him doing all that media.
He definitely don't want to do all the media. There's one media person on that team.
Him.
It's Tomlin. So I don't think any team's going to want their quarterback doing a regular like. You throwing teammates under the bus and like it's just
Aaron he will do that. He will do that.
He throws teammates under the bus. He starts talking about crazy stuff and getting into spats with Ryan Clark and using it. Just
I forgot about all
why
that.
are you worried about what Ryan Clark is saying?
But not even him. He called the media out. Not just him. It was more just than Ryan Clark. People who used to play.
He always tries to call the media out, but yet he runs to the media every time. He leverages the media when it benefits him. But when they're honest about him and his play, then he gets mad at the media and said they don't know what they're talking about. Oh, they only know what they're talking about when they're broadcasting your bullshit. I'm like, bro, kick rocks. I hope no team signs.
But
he needs to wake up.
He's gonna go. If he wants to play, he's gonna go somewhere. People were talking about the Titans too, but I don't think we want to go there either.
Titans, and then there's been some rumors about the Rams if they trade Stafford. But
see, I don't understand that whole Stafford and Cooper Kupp. They just don't want to pay him.
Well, yeah, I think it's starting to become more off the field personality stuff.
But
they had some bad negotiations last year because Stafford wanted more money.
Oh.
So they restructured his contract to move more money up. But now he's gonna want more money, and like you're older, non-mobile quarterback in a league that is shifting to quarterbacks being at least somewhat mobile.
I agree, but I think he's still good though.
Didn't say he wasn't good. What I'm
just thinking about if I was a GM with the Rams, I wouldn't want to get rid of him. He's still good.
At what price? How good is he? How much?
Like the dollars and cents is over my pay grade. But
that's what I'm saying.
So do you want to win?
They still like him.
Who they don't get for him?
They still like him, but it's like at some point, the salary becomes you got to lose other good players to keep him on the team, and then your team goes down. But
I get what you're saying, but I'm just like, but who are they gonna get? They just, I mean, see, I don't understand the whole.
That's why the Rodgers rumor. So they were saying this is what it's not my theory, it's somebody else's theory. They were saying you could rent Rodgers for a year or two, wait till next year's draft
because it's gonna be better quarterback.
Because it's a better draft next year, and then draft your replacement and hope that Rodgers can hold up at least for a year or two,
and then send him to the Giants. Actually,
and then let him retire. Rodgers 41 years old. He's not. If he gets another contract, that's his last stop.
We'll see what happens. I just, to me, it makes no sense. But
Cooper Kupp is expensive, and he's now starting to have injuries stack up. You gotta let go of Kupp.
I'm talking about Stafford. Kupp, I kind of understand because the money, and Puka's good, and he's
Stafford is older and expensive. He doesn't have the same, but he's.
I know I do like.
He's had some arm injuries too. He's had some arm injuries too, and he can't run.
Still good. One play away from beating us. They would have been. They might have made it to the Super Bowl.
He's good. Is he $50 million worth good?
I mean, how much does he want?
Apparently,
I don't know how much. How much does he get paid right now anyway?
I don't know what his salary is.
And I've heard rumors of Rodgers going to the 49ers. What they're going to do with Brock. I've heard that on talk shows.
Why? Because because you're better.
He's better than
your bag quarterback.
And they don't really want to pay him that much money. And then for Brock, he needs people. He needs other people. He can't just run the show alone.
He's making $40 million now. So he said he signed a 4-year, $160 million contract, including a $60 million signing bonus, $130 million guaranteed, and an average annual salary of $40 million. And he wants more money.
I don't know. He wants to get? He wants the market value. Does he want the present market value? That's what 60. Dak's the highest 60, right?
60. Yeah, Dak is the highest at 60. So he probably wants to get up to 50.
Well, see, I don't know his agent. I mean, at the end of the day, he is good, but he's old. So you got to be somewhere, you know.
So here's the deal. So he's under contract through the 2026 season.
So they're negotiating now.
Yeah, Stafford's contract was renegotiated, but the value of the deal remains the same. So they just moved some money up. The Rams can release a trade Stafford without a negative impact to their salary cap after the 2025 season. Stafford says he hopes to play 3 or 4 more seasons. Stafford has expressed a desire to add more guaranteed money to his contract. They can negotiate a new deal next offseason.
Okay, they can renegotiate the guarantee. But say I don't know how much guarantee you want.
So he restructured. So he got the new extension in March of 2022. He restructured the contract, receiving $5 million more upfront in 2024, and increasing his 2025 roster bonus from $5 million to $9 million. But he wants more guaranteed. And his agent is telling him he wants to play 3 or 4 more years so he can get that big bonus. If you tell him you only got 2 years left, they're not going to sign him. But he wants to get.
He's probably only going to play 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, realistically,
because
the league has moved away from him. So, in order to keep a Matthew Stafford, I'm not saying he's not good, but what I'm saying is how you have to build your team with Matthew Stafford versus another quarterback. So with Matthew Stafford, you've got to invest significant resources into your offensive line and into your running game because he cannot move around. When you have a quarterback that can move,
but you're going to give up a good thing versus a question mark. Because they don't who they're going to get unless they get Aaron Rodgers. And do you want Aaron Rodgers with all that drama? Any team.
You know what? I think they could do something with Sam Darnold.
I would.
And that's $35 million because
why? See, Stafford, Darnold.
Stafford's better. I'm not saying.
I know what you're saying. I'm just
saying you could save money with Sam Darnold, get a more athletic quarterback, not one that's more accurate because Stafford's arm is fantastic still.
Nice.
But you can but remember, Darnold's coach, the coach he had this year was that he had his best year under is a McVay disciple.
Yeah.
So he's going to run a similar offense. So it's going to be an offense that he's familiar with, that he can run with.
But the issue is the Rams, like he imploded in the playoffs. The Rams, are they trying to win now? Or are they just trying to save money?
You could ask that question with Stafford as a quarterback.
But they're closer with a Stafford than a Darnold, I'm thinking.
Yeah, allegedly.
And who else you gonna get? A quarterbacks, you know.
Darnold had a yeah, I would say yeah.
He had a great regular season, but people don't play for the regular season, you know. No. I mean, at the end of the day. No. And then the Rams had a lot of injuries toward the beginning. I mean, they, got hot toward the middle to the end of the season.
Oh, they did. And the Rams were dangerous coming to the playoffs.
They would come out traded Cooper Kupp toward the beginning of the season. And then they actually started winning. And then it died down.
Well, Cooper Kupp is starting to break down.
I mean, he's staying injured and he's older. He's a great wide receiver.
Gotta go.
I mean, they won't pay him. But if he would probably take a pay cut, he could stay. But he don't want to pay him. I'm just saying he's good too. He's good. But he stays hurt. Puka's good. Puka's great too and cheaper. So they got great wide receivers.
So here's why you have to get rid of Cooper Kupp.
No, I don't argue that. I argue Sam versus Kupp. I understand Kupp. I understand the money thing because he wants a
So
certain amount.
he would have a base salary of 12.5 million and a roster bonus of 7.5 million, which is not a lot for a number two receiver. But his salary cap hit
Well, I
is
mean, I
30 million.
understand him leaving, and I think he understands it's the business, but he wants to get paid what he want to get paid. I
And they
understand.
got mad at him. And they got mad at him when he threw it on social media that they were gonna let him go.
What do you do?
So they really gonna let him go now.
What do you do?
Oh, Cooper Cup posted it on social media that the Rams were gonna let him go, and they were trying to trade him. He posted it on social media,
Oh yeah.
and then Matthew Stafford's wife talked about it on her podcast. So
Yeah.
they're not happy with both the Staffords nor the Cubs. So that's why I'm not surprised. If they're both going to end up on different teams.
What? Well, I don't know. I don't know about Stafford. Cup gone. Where to go?
His cap hit is 30 million. He's made $93 million in his career, so he should be fine.
I mean, he was great. He was great because I'm just like when we played them, it's like he was always open. I'm like, dang, how you catch that ball? I mean, he's good. He was well when he's healthy, he's good. I know he's old and they won't pay him, but he still got
He's
something
good.
left in him. He got left something left in him. Wherever he goes, I think he's gonna do all right. His last few years, where he ends up, I don't know, but I think he's gonna be all right wherever he goes.
Yeah, well, if he's a third option, yeah,
You
I think
wouldn't
he
even.
can go.
He could be a two on some teams that don't have a two.
I think he can go to the Commanders and be a third option
Mm.
because I think the Commanders could. If they want to build a good offense, I said you already got Terry McLaurin. You bring in Higgins from Cincinnati on a max count on like a $25 million. Then you can get Cooper Cup on a discount.
We don't need all these people going to Washington. Nah.
You got to have an answer for that Eagles defense.
We don't need all these people going to Washington.
I mean,
I'm
you
speaking
speaking
as
like
a
you speaking
I'm
like an
speaking as an
Eagles
Eagles
fan.
fan.
Now,
Speaking as an Eagles
I
fan.
do think that doesn't make sense because the Commanders need an offensive line and
Like
a
I
better
said,
running game.
as an Eagles fan, I don't want them to have anything. But
So they might make a run at if I was the Commanders, I would go after your boy.
who?
Your offensive lineman just needs a new contract.
He's staying right where he is. He loves
Mm.
the Eagles. The Jets gave up on him. We gave him a chance. You see him crying tears of joy after we won the Super Bowl.
He's going to chase the joy because he knows he just made some money.
No, he crying tears of the Eagles, the organization. I mean, really, because I was talking to the in-law of Kenny Pickett randomly at the Super Bowl, and he was talking about how well the organization is, how close they are, how everyone is nice. He's the backup, and he didn't have all that in the Steelers, which I think the Steelers is a
Oh
well.
yeah.
I think the Steelers are a well-run organization, but he just talked about the difference. This is a random family member, and I was like, I thought that was interesting.
But they feel like I take that with a grain of salt. Not saying that they're wrong. I'm just saying that in Pittsburgh, they tried to give Kenny Pickett the keys to the franchise.
No, he wasn't even talking about. He just talked about the closeness of the play. I mean, just the whole around organization. Just, things were just different. Not even him playing. They just talked. He just talked about the cohesion.
No, I think the Eagles are a model organization. I don't,
I thought I was surprised. I would think the Steelers would be up there too, as far as their.
no, I think the Steelers are playing uh, football from the late '90s, early 2000s.
No, you're talking about the game. I'm just talking about the cohesion of the team and the organization. That's what he was referring to.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been saying for years, and it's even this year. Whatever's happening with their wide receivers, they have divas, and their organization creates that. they've had multiple guys
You
come
think
through.
that the organization crazy? They like that, and they just keep it under wraps until, like, who knew Brown was crazy?
But how do they keep going to the Steelers?
I don't know, but like, who knew Brown was crazy until he left, and then everybody knew.
Oh, they knew it was crazy. They kept it on the
I
wraps when
mean,
he was
no one
there.
else knew it. They kept it in houses. Was my point. When he
But
went,
they've
when he
had,
went
but
to the Raiders,
Brown, like
everybody knew he was crazy.
Brown is he's the extreme, but they've had multiple guys that had issues off the field, guys that were what's the one that went live on social media after the playoff win? There was just
It might have
multiple
been Brown. I
there's
think did. I
multiple
think Antonio
issues
Brown did that.
with their receivers. And so it's like I don't know what is going on with the Steelers and organization and the receivers. It's just like
But wide receivers, like, are like, look at T.O. You know, I love T.O. That people had issues with Odell in New York, which I love Odell too, actually. So
let's see. Martavius Bryant, remember he had issues.
well, see, I
Juju
don't blame
Smith
that.
Schuster,
I
he had
don't
to get
blame, I blame
rehabilitated.
that on the wide the
Yeah, we
individual.
already talked about Antonio Brown.
Yeah, Brown is
Chase Claypool,
Jay
another one
Claypool
that
was
had
going other
issues.
places too, though. He was problem with it in the Bears when he was with the Bears. They cut him
But he
because of his attitude. They cut him because of his attitude. It wasn't his play.
and yet the Steelers got it. So it's like these
I'm
guys
just saying
are
he wasn't just bad there. He was just in general because he was bad. He was bad. I forget why they cut him. He did something, and it wasn't even about to play on the field. He did something. I remember when they cut him.
that's my point. I've got one franchise that's had that much issues with that one position, and that's the Steelers, where
Yeah,
players
I don't think it's the organization, but who knows? At the end of the day,
they got bad pickers when it comes to wide receiver.
who knows? But even though Antonio, even though he was crazy, he was good for the Steelers when he was there. I mean, as far as he caught a lot of balls.
He was productive on the field, but then as his stats grew, his they couldn't keep it under wraps anymore. And then when they paid him, oh Ryan Clark, you gotta watch the film.
Oh
Ryan
yeah,
Clark.
I've seen it. I've seen
But
it.
I'm like, but they're all like Juju with all the social media stuff and Martavis Bryant. And there was another guy that left the Steelers and went somewhere else, and then they suspended him for a game because the dude was like acting up, and I was like, bruh.
Juju actually was decent with the Chiefs. He ain't been decent nowhere else.
Right, because he went somewhere else before he
I
with
think he
the
was in
Chiefs.
New England, wasn't he, for a minute?
Yeah, and they were like, this dude is terrible. And then the Chiefs grabbed him and they made him something because they're good at that and they can do that. And he had a good catch in the against the Bills when they beat the Bills in the playoffs. But I don't, I don't, I don't, and I'm not saying the Steelers receivers are not productive. What I'm saying is they seem to have personality issues.
But
That
I
is
don't even know if that's just the Steelers because some wide receivers have issues. So I'm not even saying
But the Steelers seem to get more of them. It's like, yeah, I understand the wide receivers are a diva. It's a diva type role. They're going to get some divas at wide receiver across the board. Not just Steelers. The Steelers just happen to seem to get more of them. So they're either really good at picking productive wide receivers, which they have been historically, but they're also picking those guys. But when you do that, you're trading it off, and it's like if you're not like they say, if you're not condoning it, you're coaching it, or if you're not coaching it, you're condoning it. They've got to squash that bullshit. And if it's a good run organization, they should not have these kind of guys over and over again, even as a diva. You got to get that up out of there. That's why I like Devontae Smith.
Well, Devontae is a simple Southern gentleman.
Give
And
me five. Give me five of them. Give me
huh?
five. Give me five of them. I want a
He's
six
just
pack of
he's simple. He don't drink. I don't think he just simple. He be at home with his fiance and his
and he
daughter.
wins.
He's just calm.
And he wins.
He don't complain.
Everywhere he goes, he wins.
He does. I like Devontae.
Give me a give me
you
a
know when
six pack.
he went to college. You know I'm a fan.
Give me a six pack of Devontae.
You know I'm a fan. He was at Bama. Him
What's the
and
boy? What's the boy that the Cowboys gave up on, and he was with the Raiders, and then he went to. He ended up with the Bills.
you know
Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper. Give me one of them too.
No, he seems chill too.
No problems. Zero
Well,
problems.
I don't the Steelers, but I'm just saying I wasn't talking about the play. I was just talking about what the in-law said. What the father-in-law said. He was spoke very high of my team.
Your team right now is sitting at the top of the NFL with the best run organization. Not just a champion, because sometimes champions by play, but
oh no, it's Howie, the owner.
It's the overall best run organization from Loria all the way down to the guy that folds the towels on the bench. They all have been it's a well-run organization, top to bottom. Now it's really about they put together a really great organization. Now it's about can the players flush it out and hit the reset button.
So I think they can.
The 2025 season is not the 2024 season. And I've seen too many teams.
We're not too many teams, and we've been to the Super Bowl.
Not calling y'all too many teams.
3 times. In how many years? How many with different coach and different players. And a backup. We won the Super Bowl with a backup quarterback.
2 things happen after a Super Bowl win. You either start building that dynasty, or everybody starts thinking that they were the reason why you won. They don't put that same work.
We have a cancer.
You sound like a fan right now. I appreciate that, but I gotta see it. I'm from Missouri. Show me state. Don't tell me about it.
Well, you ain't gonna know till it happens because we just.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm gonna keep saying this until I see something different.
All I'm saying is
we
are in good hands with Jalen and Nick Sirianni, and if they do have a council, I think they'll get rid of him. I'm just saying, people want to be with like CJ said he cried when they cut him in Detroit, and when he came back, he was just happy.
You got the right pieces in place with your quarterback and your best player, Saquon.
And the defense, the dogs, the Georgia dogs. I even told
the defense is volatile.
Toby Dean, I was like, you the only reason I like Georgia because y'all play for my team because I'm a Bama fan. He laughed at me.
The defense is volatile. You can't let the defense lead that team.
The defense needs to be good. Defense does win championships. You need the rest, but defense wins championships.
Again, as I just said, it's about the leaders on that team.
Oh, I agree with that.
The defense cannot be the leader.
Still need to be dogs, though, because that's how we lost the last Super Bowl.
So the defense cannot lead that team.
Oh, of course. I'm just saying they need to be dogs.
Nobody's disputing that. What I'm saying is the only way they're going to be able to reset and get back to there next year is because they have good leaders.
I agree with
that. Keep that under control.
We do.
Because the defense, what I just said was the defense is too volatile to lead that team.
I'm not saying they leading the team. I just say they don't have to be dogs. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, that's stating the obvious right there. They go.
That's all I'm saying.
I just.
What?
I got to see it. Over half the league doesn't make the playoffs. Next year, have to make it the playoffs.
Well, I know we did made the playoffs though, even though that we loaded. We made the playoffs after we went to the Super Bowl because it's usually the Super Bowl slump after you go.
It was a quick exit. But here's the thing: that gave you focus for the next year. Now you've won
But
it.
I don't think that
That
whole
itch has been scratched.
I don't think that implosion had anything to do with this year, honestly.
That itch has now been scratched. How are you going to respond now that you've satisfied? You got your revenge against the team that beat you. You're able to get that monkey off your back of winning the Super Bowl. Everybody's telling you how good you are. How are you going to be able to block out all that noise and get it back together?
But not
like
everybody. Not everybody. Some people are sitting there saying we won despite Jets. Some people still talking the noise. Jalen even said it when they interviewed him after the Super Bowl. He likes to talk. That fuels him. That's all. Everybody don't love us. I'm just saying.
Nobody loves. Only fans of the good teams love the good teams. Right?
No, well, I think people generally, some people hate the Eagles fans like people hate the Cowboys, but I don't think people hate the Eagles overall. If we won 3 in a row, maybe they would get Eagles fatigue like they get Chiefs fatigue.
I guarantee you, if you win it again, you will become a hater.
They might. Okay. I wouldn't care, but I think as of now, people don't hate the Eagles.
I think right now people are still happy that they beat the Chiefs.
Well, I'm sure if we won like the Patriots or even the Chiefs, people hate.
No, not after the first win. The Chiefs were great after they won that first Super Bowl when they beat the 49ers. Everybody loved them. They were great. It's when you win the second one, and then when they won back to back, they really got hated.
I don't know if I love them.
I love them because I was
different. I don't hate the 49ers. I actually I like players on the 49ers team, but
Brock Purdy's not leading them
where
anywhere.
Debo's going.
Brock Purdy's not leading them anywhere. If Debo stays,
I wonder where Debo is going though, because he wants to be out.
Oh yeah, they trade him. He's making too much money.
I wonder where though he's gone. I can't see NFL. I love NFL. It's never a down. You have this.
He's not going to go to a contender. He's not going to go to a well-run team because he's expensive. So teams are going to want him because he's got a good name and they're expecting him to be the same player that he was in San Francisco, even though they're going to run a different offense for him. But a well-run organization, the only way he'll go to a well-run organization is if they see him as the final piece for a championship, not as I need this guy in order to be relevant. Because like the Commanders could do something with him because he's versatile.
I've heard that.
The Commanders could do something with him, but name a good team. Maybe the Chiefs could do something with him because they need a runner and they need a running game and a pass. Like he could do something, and Andy Reid could be clever and use him in ways that would.
The Cowboys might could use him, but he ain't going there. He ain't going there. So
the Cowboys could definitely use him,
but he's not gonna go there because Jerry not gonna pay Debo.
No, Jerry can't pay because he
got to pay Micah.
He has not worked the cap well enough to be able to give himself room to be able.
He got to pay. Micah's up next.
He's not a capologist. That's another complaint about Jerry. It's like he doesn't know how to work the cap.
But see, because he always wanted to wait to the last hour to pay somebody.
Well, it's not just that too, but it's like it's where you structure a contract.
Yeah, but if he paid him earlier, he could structure it better. Is my only point. You pay more when you pay at the last hour.
Structure it to where he's not even doing that. So now that's why Dak they paid him late. And so the way it's structured, he's a $80 million cap hit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even with CeeDee Lamb, he paid him late.
Because you gotta add that you gotta space that signing bonus out over the life of the contract, and so that adds to your cap hit.
Yeah, this one paid early. He need to learn from Howie.
Pay early and backload the contract.
Yeah, because Jalen this year, was his cap was what? Dax was like what? 60? Jalen is, even though he gets paid more, it was 28 or 29.
So that's my point. So like you get, yeah, the life of the contract might be worth this much, but you give him a signing bonus and you backload the salary of it, so it becomes an even thing. He's not even doing that. And so like he's not even structuring it, even when he's paying late, he's not even structuring it in a way that is going to help him to be able to have money. So like now he can only pay a few players, and then he's got to rely on his draft he's got to find another Micah Parsons in the draft because he can't pay a free agent. And so yeah, he can fall back on this. We don't pay for free agents, but you used to. You brought in T.O., you brought in Dion, you brought in a whole. You did bring in players before. Now you're realizing you're getting so bad with the cap.
True, yeah, and then people, the salaries are more, even though the caps.
Yeah, but the cap's going up. You're just not working it right.
Yeah, I agree.
Jeffrey got a hold. The Eagles got a team full of good players.
Howie knows what he's doing.
Just saying. Somebody.
He knows how to the cap. He knows how to find hidden talent. He knows how to draft.
The Bills took a step back, and somehow they were able to be in the AFC Championship game. And you can't name anybody more than Josh Allen and Amari Cooper and James Cook. The rest of that, and maybe the rookie receiver that they got
from FSU, Kenyon.
They got Keon Coleman.
You said Cook.
I said Cook, yeah. Cook, yeah. The three players you can name: Cook, Cooper. Well, it's Cook, Allen, Cook, and
Vaughn. Cooper. Even though he's older, he's still on the team.
Vaughn didn't. He didn't.
He's on the team. I can name them.
Yeah, but I'm talking about name players that contribute. He just getting a check. They got to get that salary off the book.
Yeah, he had. I forget which game it was. It was not a sack. I forget which game it was because I remember him saying his name.
But then wasn't he coming off an Achilles though? Didn't he tear his Achilles last year or something?
I thought that was that last year or the year before?
I remember the year before. So they said it takes 2 years to come back from Achilles. So we'll see.
It does, which is why Aaron might have been better. He might be better next year if he plays. Because he got better as the season progressed.
But Aaron likes to run a certain type of offense. That's why he brought his guy in to run the offense.
Well, I agree. I'm just saying he got better as the season progressed because and then Kirk Cousins may be better. I don't know where he's gonna wind up, but because he's still recovering from his Achilles.
So he got better how? They won 7 games.
I'm talking about Aaron. He looked better.
What are you talking about?
He looked better playing. Why?
That's empty calories. That's Dak.
I'm just saying he looked better.
That's Dak stats. That's Dak Prescott stats.
I'm just saying it takes more than a year to recover from Achilles. He may play better next year.
Win games.
That's all I'm saying. But he won games. He
wasn't
sad. I'm just saying he played better.
Dak Wilson won more games.
I'm not talking about his overall record. I'm talking
with Dak Wilson and Bum than they did with Aaron Rodgers.
Recovering from his Achilles is my only point.
They won 7 games. Win the game.
My point is still he looked better as the season progressed. And if he actually was healthy, they might have.
What I said is that's Dak stats. He looked better, but they weren't winning games.
I'm just saying he might have had a better record if he hadn't torn his Achilles. Is my only point. If he hadn't fully recovered. That's my only point. I'm not saying yay or nay with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just saying he still was recovering from his Achilles.
Aaron Rodgers is in limbo. He is not going to win another Super Bowl.
Oh, I don't think he is either. But that's
he's
still
good enough. He's good enough to play. He's better than all the backups and a few starters. Because I think he's better than like Brock Purdy.
I'm agreeing.
He's better than Anthony Richardson.
I'm agreeing with you, but somebody's gonna pick him up. I don't know who it is. I don't think that he don't win anything, but he wants to play one more year.
Oh, we named the 4 dumbest teams that will pick him up. And maybe the
I'm not saying I'm for it or against. I'm just saying it takes it. I agree with you. It takes more than a few months, even though he had a wonderful surgery or whatever to recover from Achilles. And
I watched the Kirk Cousins experiment this year, and it was
Kirk Cousins. I think will be wherever he is will be better next year than this year.
He might be in New York. One of them.
Giants
or the Jets. They both need a quarterback.
Yeah, they do.
If you're the Jets and you look, you say, okay, I am not overly impressed with one of these quarterbacks coming out this year. Why wouldn't you take a
I think
rental?
Shador is gonna wind up with the Giants.
Let the Falcons pay most of the salary because they want to get rid of Kirk Cousins. Let the Falcons pick up most of that salary. You take him and rent him for a year, and then wait for next year's draft. Because and while you build your culture, Aaron
I
Glenn on
think I
that team.
think I think the Giants Shador. I think that's where Shador is going.
I don't think so.
Where you think he gonna go?
I don't know where he's going to go, but the Giants need to win now.
No,
That's why.
but they're
That's
not
why.
going to.
That's why they're talking about trading for Matthew Stafford. They need
Even
an
if they had
established,
Matthew Stafford, I don't think they're gonna win now.
but it sends a message that they're trying. When you draft a rookie, you're nobody expecting Shador Sanders to come in and do what the Commanders quarterback did, right? And because the Commanders quarterback was
I agree.
better than Shador
But they
Sanders.
have nobody now.
So,
But I still don't think that Stafford thing.
so
Anyway,
when you got Dayball and Joe Shane that barely kept their jobs this year, you think that they're gonna endure another
but what other
4 win
options? What
season?
other options do they have other than Matt if he goes there? I don't know. What other options do they have? Quarterbacks don't grow on trees.
Sam Darnold is also and you could convince the same fan base because he had a great season and he's a professional. You've got numbers. This is why coaches pick players out of the transfer portal versus trying to recruit a kid out of high school
I know,
because
but are you gonna win? You
it's
might
more
win
of an
regular
unknown.
season
Hold
game.
on, hold on, hold on. It's more of an unknown than drafting a player than it is getting a player that already has an established track record in the league that knows how the league is
Sam
run, knows how
Darnold
to be
has
professional.
1 year, but his whole body of work, I'm not sold on him.
And how many years
They're
is
trying to
Shador
win
Sanders?
now.
How many years does Shador Sanders have?
I'm just saying they need a quarterback. They're gonna pick high in the draft. I think that's where he's gonna wind up.
Not if Joe Chain and them want to keep their job. That's a bad. If I'm Shador, I wouldn't want to go there. I got a coach and a GM that
So where
if
you
we have
think
a
who you
bad
think gonna
season,
pick
they're going to get
Shador?
fired.
Who you think gonna pick Shador? That has a high who needs a quarterback and has a high draft pick.
I think. Well, I don't know if they're going to pick him. I think Tennessee should pick him, but they are still trying to put money behind mayonnaise
So
and
yeah,
pick him.
I don't think they're gonna pick him, and I wouldn't want to go there
I
either.
think a team's going to trade up. I don't know. Are the top teams that need a quarterback? I don't know. I heard that the Steelers called about uh, Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, trying to trade for him. But who are the teams that need a quarterback? The Raiders need a quarterback.
But how far are they? And what
I
number?
think they're fourth. They're picking fourth.
They do need a
So they're high enough to pick him. They're saying the Miami quarterback is allegedly the top quarterback, and I think Shador wants to be. If the last two seasons are any indication, you want to be the second quarterback taken, not the first.
Yeah, but that's random. That's random. It is random. Who would have known? Caleb, I wouldn't call him a bust, but Caleb would have the season he had, and Jaden would have the season he had. Although I really think Jaden was a better quarterback just because of the number, his experience compared to Caleb.
And people are saying the same thing about CJ versus Bryce, and they still took Bryce.
Well,
CJ was a better quarterback.
I'm biased when it comes to Bryce because I'm a Bama fan.
Yeah, but Bryce is not better than CJ. He wasn't better than CJ in college. He had a better team, but he was not
Well,
better.
see, I didn't really watch. I don't watch Ohio State, so I really didn't see CJ other than when he made it to the playoffs. So, but I watched Bryce because I watched Bama.
Bigger, stronger, faster.
I'm just saying I didn't watch him in college really.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I'm telling you, I watched both of them, and CJ was a better quarterback coming out.
But
And
I'm partial to Bryce because I'm a Bama fan, and I saw him play, and I saw him, yeah. But I mean, his size was the main thing that people were talking about.
Yeah, CJ, and then.
But both of them were a surprise, though. No one knew CJ would be as good as he is. No
I did when I watched the bowl game. And the way
I
he
mean, he
gave
played
Georgia,
well
the
in the
way he gave Georgia with all of those professionals
I
on their
agree.
defense,
I
he
agree, but no
gave
one
them
knew he would
fit.
be that good in NFL first season.
No, I mean, you never know with rookies, but I'm
And
just
no
saying
one
in
even
terms of
knows
like,
Jaden. They're like outliers, both of them.
I guess the trend is the second
I'm just
quarterback.
saying, you never know, and this is not a great quarterback class anyway. So
No, I think Shador's the best quarterback in this draft, but they're talking about this kid out of Miami. I watched him play.
I watched him play. That he was good, and they had no defense. He had to score a lot of points. So
That means that creates bad habits, and you see those bad habits popping up in Caleb right now. Always trying to make the big play, turnovers, things of that nature. Trying to extend plays too much instead of running the play that's there because you're
yeah,
playing
but
hurry.
you can't do that in NFL.
You can't do that in NFL.
You got to take what the defense gives you, basically. If not, you turn the ball over or get sacked.
Yeah, that's why I was like, Bryce was small, accurate, and smart, but he's playing behind NFL players in the line. He had NFL receivers. He had NFL so.
Because that Bama, they produce those NFL players.
Not this year, but
I'm making a general statement. Look at well.
You need to add the moniker. You need to add historically.
In general, look at all the players in the NFL. How many of them come from Bama?
Nobody's disputing that. I'm just saying this year.
I'm not saying that. Did I say this year? I said in general. I'm talking about in general. Bryce, Jalen,
and that's why the quarterback
Derrick Henry
is staying in the draft right now because he's like next year's draft. He's not getting drafted. Milrow. He would be a second round pick if he came out next year.
It depends how he plays.
He got to come out this year. He got to come out.
How he plays. I don't know the quarterback class for next year, so
yeah.
Until football season starts, I'm not in.
Yeah.
So I don't know who the prospects will be as far as quarterbacks for next year.
All right, I gotta jump. I gotta get some food and get ready for work day.
It's late. Yeah, I gotta get up so I can catch my flight in the morning. Okay. All right.
I was telling folks, we'll holler at y'all in 2 weeks.
All right.